What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Blazers Uprise Live, here to kick off your week. We got 9 games for picks against the spread today, and we'll talk about the Blazers' latest injury update. Good news is Trendon Watford avoided serious injury. The last time we were live, we were worried about a potentially serious injury for Trendon Watford, and it sounds like it's probably the best case scenario, seeing how he went down. We'll talk about that injury. Eric, how's your day going, man? How's the Monday treating you?
It's been pretty good. Got to enjoy the nice weather outside with my youngest, and yeah, just excited to make some picks now.
Nice. I just cleaned, so I got a little different background right now. Kind of throwing it back to the old days. It looks so
Spring
different
cleaning.
without that. Yeah. I don't know. Monday, I like to clean on Mondays just to start the week off well. You know what I mean? So, definitely looks very different without the Portland backdrop. Shout out to Dwight James Burner. You already banned a Dwight James Burner. We're off to that type of start this week. Let's just jump.
Next time it's getting hidden if you don't change it. So
Yeah. Let's just jump into picks against the spread, man. So things look a little weird because there was a push on Thursday. And nobody doubled down on it except for Jackson. That's why he's 4.5 games back. Finally got to break out the half a game back. And that's why you see a tie for his double down. He will double down on 2 games today to make up for it. Everybody pretty much had a solid day. Chat, you guys went 5-0. Good job, chat. Group thinking working out. You guys are only 4 games back of me, so you have a chance to pass me up today. We got 9 games. I went 4-1, Connor 4-1, Zach and Trevin 4-1. Jackson went 3-1 because of his double down push. And then Eric and Krish 2-3. Let's jump into game number 1. We got Charlotte hosting Denver. Denver is a 3.5-point road favorite.
the Nuggets are without Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., Zeke Naji, Vlatko Chanchar, and JaMychal Green. The Hornets are without Gordon Hayward.
I'm happy to have you back saying injuries compared to last stream. Makes it easier to type out this chat poll. All right, so I got... Is Zach in here? Because I do have his picks, but he said check for me in stream. We got Jackson, Krish, Connor. Cool, and then hopefully Trevin as well. Zach ended up going with... Since I don't see him,
I have his
went
picks
Charlotte.
too, so
Okay, cool. I'll let you read them off.
Yes.
Assuming he's not here.
I'm going Nuggets.
You're going Nuggets. Okay. I am also going to go with the Nuggets.
Jackson went Nuggets as well.
All right, Jackson. Unless somebody else sent me their picks, but I don't think so. I think I'm tripping. Haven't seen Trevin. Hopefully Trevin shows up. He likes to show up a little bit late, but generally he does. Chat right now, 64% for Denver. Leaning Denver. Hello, Bonnie. Hope you're having a good day. Krish goes Denver.
Nuggets.
Alright, Muggets for Trevin. And waiting on Connor. I'm going to end the chat poll. Chat 55% for Denver, it looks like. Final tally might be a little bit different. So it looks like this might be a Zach Island. Trevin, I thought you did that on purpose. And we're waiting on Connor. Connor goes Nuggets as well. Congratulations, Zach. You're not even here, but you still got an island. Game number 2. We got Cleveland hosting the Orlando Magic, and Cleveland is an 8.5 points home favorite.
The Magic are without Jonathan Isaac and Bol, of course, and also Jalen Suggs. The Cavaliers are without Colin Sexton, Dean Wade, Rajon Rondo, and Jared Allen.
I'm struggling keeping up with player moves this year for some reason. Like, I did not know that Bol was on Orlando. How did he... What trade was that?
The Celtics salary dump Bol and PJ Dozier to the Magic.
To duck the tax. Okay.
I think they ducked the tax in another trade, but they just wanted them off their roster, I guess.
I am gonna go with Orlando's been okay lately, I think. I don't know. I'm going Cleveland though. Jackson says cleaving. Nobody can type today, apparently.
I'm gonna take the points and take the Magic.
Eric is going with the Magic. We got Zach going with... What's Zach going with? Orlando.
Connor is Magic as well.
Connor, Magic. Trevin is Cavs. Let me turn on live chat. Live chat's a little faster. I'm just waiting on Krish. I'm on chat poll in a sec. So get your vote in while you can. Duck Legend, Bull. Yeah, 9-game Duck Legend. Chat's trying to bring it back for the Cavs right now. Alright, I'm going to end poll. 53% Magic. Magic got another vote, so Magic. And then we're waiting on Krish. Krish goes Cavs. Alright, so we got a split vote. Me, Trevin, Jackson, Krish, Cavs. Eric, Zach, Connor, Chat, Magic. Alright, game number 3. We got Indiana hosting Atlanta. And Atlanta is an 8-point road favorite. Obviously rooting for Indiana in this one. Eric, what are the injuries?
Is your phone by your mic?
Yes.
Hawks are without John Collins, DeAndre Hunter, and Danilo Gallinari. Pacers are without, ready for this, Miles Turner, TJ Warren, Chris Duarte, Isaiah Jackson, Malcolm Brogdon, TJ McConnell, Ricky Rubio, Dwayne Washington, and O'Shea Brissett.
They're like us.
Mm-hmm. There's, including our game, there's 3 teams, I think, tonight that have 8 players.
We're going back to like December vibes with you reading off a bunch of names. I'm going Atlanta, honestly. And then if Indiana keeps it close, then, that's a good thing because I want Indiana to win. So I'll hedge my bets. I'll go Atlanta. I also think Atlanta's going to blow them out. Hawks for Trevin. Hawks for Jackson.
The available players for the Pacers are Halliburton, Heel, Justin Anderson, Jalen Smith, Goga Batadze, Kiefer Sykes, Lance Stevenson, and Terry Taylor.
That's not as bad as I would have expected, to be honest. They still got a couple of guys there. And Lance Stevenson can always pop off for a good game. Justin Anderson had a good game against us. Who do you think you are, Torrey Jr.? Who are you talking? Oh, Torrey Jones Jr. in chat. What is that picture? Wait, I can go to account and see that picture. Wait, can I go to the account? Nope, I can't. Okay.
Whoever it is switched off of being Dwight James, so thank you.
Dude, this is really back to year one with no Portland picture backdrop and the burners. We're really bringing it back. Connor goes Hawks.
I'm also going Hawks.
You remember the Mario Hezonja burners?
Yeah. Sure do.
Probably Zach. Zach's just like, I sent him my picks. I'm going to be a burner. Krish is Atlanta. Even Krish is going with Atlanta here. Who did Zach go with?
Zach also chose Atlanta.
Are we going to have a clean sweep, which is pretty hard to do this year? It's close in the chat poll, 55% Hawks. It looks like chat is pretty evenly divided on everything so far, but it's a clean sweep. All right, game number 4. You got Miami hosting Sacramento. Obviously rooting for Sacramento, because if Sacramento wins and Portland loses, we would move into 6-spot in lottery odds, but Miami is a whopping 14-point home favorite against the Kings.
And that is because the Kings are without De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, Rashawn Holmes, Terrence Davis, and Alex Len. And the Heat are only without Caleb Martin.
Alrighty. Jackson says Sacktown. Alright. Very quick vote there.
Davion Mitchell's going to have to save us tonight. Zach took Sacramento.
Zach took Sac, yep. Kings for Connor, Miami for Trevin. I'm going to go Miami as well. As Trevin. What you feeling, Eric?
I'm just going to take the points.
You're going to take the points? All right. Kings for Eric. Chat is evenly divided once again. Right now, he have 52% of the vote. I'll give you guys another 15 seconds, so get your picks in. And then we're waiting on Krish. Because Krish is always the last one to make his pick. Spencer Grant says, can't decide whether to predict that Lightning will strike twice with the Kings or that the Heat might actually play well post-fight, LOL. Alright, I'm going to end chat poll. It's 55% Kings. Still waiting on Krish. It's 55% Heat. Did I say 55% Kings?
Yeah.
My bad. 56% Heat. Heat Kings, kind of similar, I guess. I don't know. I'm tripping. All right.
Really?
Split vote. Me, Trevin, Chris, Chat, Heat, Eric, Zach, Connor Jackson, Kings. Game number 5. We got Chicago heading into the Big Apple. Chicago's a 3.5-point road favorite against the Knicks.
So the Bulls are without Lonzo Ball. And the Knicks are without Nerlens Noel, Kemba Walker, Cam Reddish, Derrick Rose, and Quentin Grimes.
Alrighty. I'm just going to take the favorite in every game, I guess. I'm going Bulls.
I'm also going Bulls. Same with the Zach.
Alright. Bulls, Bulls, Bulls. Torrey Jones Jr. joined YouTube in 2013. That's well before this channel. Jackson goes Bulls. Greg says for some reason he trusts the Knicks here. Yeah, Bulls have been very iffy lately. But here's the thing. The Bulls can take care of bad teams. They just can't beat good teams. Trevin goes Bulls. Waiting on Connor and Krish. Chat is evenly divided once again. 56% Bulls right now. Krish goes Knicks. Krish likes his Islands.
He likes the Knicks because they start with the same letter as his name.
Makes sense. Bulls 57% of the vote for chat. And then we're waiting on Connor. Alright, I'm just going to start typing the sixth chat poll right now while we wait for Connor. Alright, Connor, just pick this game when you can. Let's move on to game number 6. Toronto's hosting Boston. Let me make sure I didn't typo that. Yeah, Toronto right now is an 8.5-point home favorite. I assume that's because of some sort of injury.
Yeah, the Celtics are sitting Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Al Horford, and Robert Williams is now out indefinitely with a meniscus tear. And the Raptors are only without Khem Birch.
Alrighty. Jackson goes Toronto.
I'm going to take Toronto as well.
I don't want to take the favorites in every game, but the favorites are the right pick, I feel like, in every game. I could see Boston. Who does Boston even have?
Smart, Neesmith,
Pritchard.
Tice, White.
White. I mean, that's an okay team, but I'm going to go Raptors. Raptors have been playing solidly lately. Trevin goes Raptors. Krish goes Raptors. It's all good, Connor. Connor went Bulls on the last game, Eric. So Krish gets his island. Congratulations to Krish. All right, what'd Zach go with?
Zach went with Boston double down.
All right, good luck, Zach.
Oh, Celtics are also on a back-to-back.
Chat is 57%, 58% Celtics, actually. Chat was trying to get an island.
I mean, yeah. I'm guessing Zach didn't look up injuries, but if he would have seen that spread and noticed it. Although last time he told me he put in his picks, he didn't look at the spread, so I don't know.
That's the Zach thing to do. And if he did look at the spread, it was a lot closer, like late last night. So Chat, I don't know if Chat's had an island all season. They almost got one here. Zach had to ruin it. So Chat and Zach, Celtics, everybody else, Raptors, game number 7 of 9. San Antonio's heading into Houston, and they're a 10-point road favorite, which is good news for the Blazers.
Yes, and the Spurs are without Lonnie Walker, Romeo Langford, Doug McDermott, Keita Bates-Diop, questionable. And then the Rockets are sitting, of course, John Wall, but also Eric Gordon, Christian Wood, and Dennis Schroeder.
Jeez.
Memorial Day is on. Memorial Day is at the end of May, not
yeah. Memorial Day is when my
4th.
birthday is. What are you talking about, Jackson?
There's no games because of the national championship. I think is the reason there's no games.
Oh, I don't know. If everybody wanted to, we could do it on a Tuesday if you wanted to.
Gopal, we have asked all the mods to not vote in chat, to just turn the chat thing off. So no, they shouldn't be voting. And if you are voting as a mod, then please stop.
Yep. Because obviously that's just for you guys. That's just for chat.
I'm going to take the points and take the Rockets. On a massive 2-game win streak.
God. I hate all the underdogs today. I absolutely hate all the underdogs today. God, what'd Zach go with?
Zach went with San Antonio.
You know what? Screw it. I'll go San Antonio. I don't like the underdogs today at all. The Rockets have to be resting all those guys, of course. Clearly, Bot says Spurs drop 140 tonight.
They don't have that type of offense to do that.
Yeah, Chris Branlin said Houston comes back down to earth tonight against a team that's trying to win. Yes. Connor Rockets and Chris Rockets.
Jackson picking the Spurs? No way.
Jackson, my birthday's like always right around Memorial Day, so that was funny. Funny for me. Rockets for Trevin. We got a lot of difference in opinions today, which is good. Chat is 62% Spurs, which I think is their highest percentage all day. I could be wrong.
56 was the highest.
Like, chat's even divided on everything. It's another split vote. We got a ton of these, so it's going to be interesting to see the records out today. Eric, Trevin, Connor, Chris, Rockets, Tori, Zach, Jackson, chat, Spurs, game number 8, second to last game. You got Memphis hosting the Golden State Warriors, and Memphis is a whopping 11-point home favorite.
So the Warriors are without Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, Otto Porter, James Wiseman, and are on a back-to-back. The Grizzlies are without John Morant and Killian Tilly, and as of last check, Jaren Jackson, Brandon Clark, and Xavier Tillman all questionable.
Who'd you say was out for the Warriors again? I'm sorry, I was tired.
Everyone important. If they're important, they're out, except for Poole and Wiggins.
Okay.
Curry, Draymond, Klay, all out.
The Grizzlies have been blowing out teams without Jaw, but I'm gonna take the Warriors. I'll finally take an underdog.
I'm also taking the Warriors.
Grizzlies for Trevin and Jackson.
Zach is taking the Warriors. Obviously did not pay attention to injury reports.
Yeah, that's fine.
Jackson, Memphis, Trevin.
How old am I? How old do you think I am, Gopal? Chris just had a seizure mid-sentence, so he goes with the Memphis Grizzlies.
I hope he's okay to pick the Blazer game. Gopal Wiggins is not a free agent, so.
Bro, why does... okay. Eric, what are you going with?
I said Warriors.
You said it.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool, I missed that. All right, and then chat is 52% Warriors. Chat, you guys are so divided today. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. The chat, 52% Warriors. All right, final game. This one's a doozy. You got Portland hosting OKC. OKC comes in on the road as 1.5-point favorites. What are the who's missing, or maybe who's playing in this tankathon game?
Well,
Eric?
might as well do both, right?
Yeah.
All right, so for the Thunder, they are without Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Lou Dort, Josh Giddey, Kenrick Williams, Derek Favors, Ty Jerome, Mike Muscala, Darius Baisley. For the Blazers, we have Dame, Ant, Nurk, Nas, Hart, Winslow, Watford, Ingles, Didi Lozada, Bledsoe, and Greg Brown is now listed as doubtful.
Okay.
And here, let me get you the lineups.
Who's playing? Oh my goodness.
Where is this? Come on.
Bro, why does everybody always think I'm older than I am?
I don't know.
That's not a good thing.
All right, here are the Blazers.
I gotta change.
Here are the Blazers available Monday. Brandon Williams, Keon Johnson, Elijah Hughes, C.J. Ellaby, Drew Eubanks, Chris Dunn, Ben McLemore, and Keldon Blevins.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe Greg Brown if he plays. And then, dang it, why can't I? The Thunder's 8 are Teo Maledon, Trey Mann, Aaron Wiggins, Alexei Pokusevsky, Isaiah Roby, Vit Krejci, Lindy Waters the third, Olivier Sarr, and Jeremiah Robinson Earl.
Why did you say Lindy Waters' name like a question?
I don't think I've ever seen Lindy Waters play a game, so it'd be interesting.
I don't think I have either. I've seen his name, though. Awesome name.
He's going to have to play.
Lindy Waters the third?
I know, it really looks like, or sounded like I was making up names at one point.
Sounds like you're reading off, like, 2K auto-generated prospects.
Yeah.
That Lindy Waters sounds like the most 2K-generated player ever. I'm going Portland, by the way. I think this is like going to be the Detroit/Wizards game 3.0.
All right.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with you, and then I'm happy if they lose. Anyway.
Yep. That's also partially the logic for me. All right. What'd Zach go with?
Zach went with Portland.
All right.
I don't know. It's tough. I hope they catch at least one of them. The question was asked: do you think we'd catch either the Pacers or the Kings? I don't know. It's going to be tough.
It's possible to catch the Kings. I don't think we're going to catch the Pacers, if I'm being honest. They are tanking as hard as we are, so, and they don't have an easy schedule.
Connor went Blazers. Trevin went Thunder.
Okay. Jackson and Krish. Chat is 85% Thunder with 54 votes.
Nice.
I'm shocked.
They know what
by
they want
that.
their double down to be.
All right, I'm just gonna end chat poll. So that's chat's double down too. Wow, you guys have been divided all day, and then I'm surprised. Okay, that's amazing. All right. So chat is OKC. Do we have Jackson and Krish yet? OKC again. Thanks, Krish. Okay, Jackson's OKC. And then Krish. Has Krish made his pick? We need Jeopardy music, man. For Krish. Because Krish always has to pick last. Scroll up, I did. I don't see Krish's pick anywhere. I see LOL, and I see what aneurysm?
Yeah, me too.
So Krish, just say your pick again. Whatever it was. Please. I'm gonna face palm my face into the desk. I'm gonna desk palm my face. Keep going up? Bruh, he... Okay, so he picked it way before the game. Can you...
It's 18 million emojis.
Yeah, okay. I see, I just ignored that. But when you pick before the game, I'm probably not gonna read it. Anyway. Split vote. Let's go into double downs. I already got chats and Zach's. What's your double down, Eric, or if you know? Jackson, that was definitely when we were reading off names, man. Like, make your picks after we read off names. After we put the chat poll in.
Who should I double down on, Cora?
What?
Who should I double down on?
Who?
What team? Name a team. Chris is going Knicks. I'm gonna take the Hawks as my double down.
Jackson, you have to double down on 2, by the way. Nice hat. Krish goes Knicks.
Do you think that's a good idea to double down on the Hawks or no?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
I'm gonna look through the spreads one more time.
Trevin says Memphis. Hawks as Jackson's other.
I'm gonna double down on Cleveland. Look at that beautiful Hawks Nuggets logo. All right, Trevin and Connor. Connor went Blazers.
My daughter does not really watch the NBA. She went with my mom to the Blazer game against the Spurs last week.
And was rooting for the tank. We got differential on everything except for Jackson's second double down agrees with yours, but his first one doesn't. So there we go. That's picks against the spread. Jackson's doubling down on 2 because he was the only one who doubled down on the push game on Thursday. Anyway, that wraps that up. Very very long picks against the spread segment. Anyway, so last time we were on stream, we were worried about Trendon Watford. It turns out he just has a bone bruise, which was honestly about the best case scenario you could expect, seeing how he went down and reacted.
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably a situation where he's out for the season. Did they? Let me look at that.
No, he is out for a week.
He's out for a
or
week.
Or reevaluated in a week.
See, a week is like 5 days before the end of the season. That's confusing.
I know.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess he could come back this year. But
so yeah, they also announced today that Didi Louzada could be back this year still.
Yeah.
That they haven't ruled him out for the season yet. But they did officially rule Anthony Simons, Yusuf Nurkic, and Eric Bledsoe.
Apparently, Eric Bledsoe's injury is like legitimate because he received a PRP injection on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently, it's not them holding him out for the hell of it. Apparently, it's actually something he's dealing with.
Well, the rumor is they accidentally tweaked something in the physical.
What do you mean?
Because he was completely healthy all year, and then they had the physical, and his Achilles started bothering him during the.
They're like, we don't want you to play this year. Just grabs his Achilles.
Yeah, exactly.
Yikes! Josh Hart is out. Will be reevaluated in 1 week. So Josh Hart and Trendon Watford, I guess, could return, but they're going to be reevaluated in 1 week. But that's April 5th. The last game is on April 10th.
Yeah.
So that's the update.
Kind of relevant Blazer news. Jeremy Grant has now been ruled out for the rest of the season as well.
That's not play. No. Anyway, that's the injury update. Is there anything else you want to talk about injury-wise?
No, just... I mean, we all knew when they started sitting Ant and Nurk that this was going to happen.
Yep.
The Blazers are fully committed to this. We'll see if that's good enough for tonight, because this is the ultimate tank game of two teams that... I don't know if it's quite as bad as the last game of the season between the Clippers and the Thunder last year, but the Clippers were trying to lose for a different reason than tanking. But hopefully we can get this loss tonight.
Yep, absolutely agree.
Sorry, Mom.
Let's look at a tanking sheet. All right, a tanking sheet that I made, and this is just basically the teams that are relevant for the Portland Trail Blazers. I should have put games back in there, so I'll try and add that. But right now, Portland is half a game back of 6th of Sacramento. They're currently 2.5 games back of Indiana. I think it's just important to pay attention to the win column. So you got the records right there. Right now, Portland's tied with Sacramento in the win column. So if Portland doesn't win more games than Sacramento the rest of the year, they'll be tied for 6th. Okay, they're 2 wins behind Indiana. So Indiana, out of their last 7 games, is going to have to win 2 more than the Blazers out of the Blazers' last 8 games. I don't trust that happening. Indiana has an easy schedule, or Indiana has a difficult schedule. Portland has an easier one. Indiana's hardcore tanking.
Yeah.
So I think at this point, I mean, honestly, San Antonio has 30 wins. We were close with San Antonio. Now we're 3 games worse than them. So I'm not worried about Portland falling to 8. It's basically Portland's probably going to end up 6th or 7th. They're going to have a 32% chance of the top 4 and a 7.5% chance of the number 1 overall pick, or they're going to have a 37% chance of the top 4 with a 9% chance of the number 1 overall pick, which are decent odds, man. I mean, I'll take it. I'll take moving up to 6th. I also have the next games that the team plays right there as well. So,
and 6 was our lucky number in 2007 when we moved up to the number 1 pick. So,
so Shaedon Sharpe's going to be the best player from the draft.
Well, the 6th pick was in 2012, but when we moved up to get Great Oden, we also had the 6th odds and moved up.
We also drafted Brandon Roy at 6 too.
Yep. Well, technically, we had 7 and traded.
Yeah, but he was the 6th overall.
We drafted Randy Foy and traded him in cash for Brandon Roy in one of the greatest trades of all time. But
yeah. But Brandon Roy was a 6th pick. Damian Lillard was a 6th pick. We had the 6th best odds and got the number 1 overall pick in 2007. Unfortunately, that didn't work out. But 6 is a pretty good number for the Blazers. So, the Kings playing the Heat today. The Blazers playing the Thunder. There's a decent chance that the Blazers have an additional win over the Kings at the end of the day. Because I'm not expecting the Kings to take care of Miami. They were a 14-point underdog. Portland's only a 1.5-point underdog against the Thunder team, sitting a bunch of players just like the Blazers are. So, if the Blazers lose today and the Spurs win, I think you can officially... I think we're at the point where we don't really have to worry about the Spurs anymore, but the Spurs are playing the Rockets today, 10-point favorites. Mm-hmm. So if Portland loses and San Antonio wins, which is very possible, that's a situation where you don't have to worry about the Spurs at all. But I don't think you have to worry about them anyway, because the Blazers still have 2 games left against them. They could hypothetically win both games, but I don't see that happening. Mm-hmm. So, it just could put more distance between the Blazers and Spurs if it works out that way today.
Yeah. And so the question is, if the Pelicans win in the play-in, do we lose the draft pick? Yes. If they are the 7th or 8th seed and go into a 7-game series, we do not get the pick.
That is what I'm worried about.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw the other news today, though. The Clippers are expected to have Paul George return this week.
Mm-hmm. Which is great news for the Blazers, because it makes the Clippers a more formidable play-in team. Mm-hmm. So, the Clippers are most likely going to play the Timberwolves, I believe. That's currently the 7-8 matchup. Let me pull up the standings just to make sure. Timberwolves are a game and a half behind Denver. Denver's 6th, Timberwolves 7th. Mm-hmm. Clippers 8th. The Clippers are pretty much locked into 8th at this point. So, Minnesota, the Clippers... If the Clippers lose that game, they're a more formidable opponent for whoever wins that 9-10 playing game, which could easily be the New Orleans Pelicans. So that's good news for Blazers fans, because you don't want New Orleans to play their way into the playoffs. Mm-hmm. That would be the worst case scenario. So we're going to be rooting potentially for 2 LA teams, Eric. 2 LA teams in the play-ins against the Pelicans. Right now you have the Lakers. They're only a game better than the Spurs, though. So the Spurs have a legitimate chance of passing up the Lakers for play-in positioning. Mm-hmm. Which is... Would you feel good about that, or would you think that's bad?
I think it's bad, considering it looks like Anthony Davis is back by the end of this week as well. Mm-hmm. So I think if the Lakers have LeBron and Anthony Davis healthy, I think they have a better chance of beating the Pelicans than the Spurs do. And so I like their odds there. So I'd rather have the Lakers play the Pelicans.
Yep. I will bring up tankathon.com here as well. Let me just create the thing for it on this slide. This is going to be the new tanking slide. But yeah, when I made this graphic, I initially was like, I'll put, the Kings is plus 0.5. They're ahead by 0.5 games. Indiana plus 2.5, and then the teams below them negative. How far away they are from the Blazers. But I completely forgot to do that. So, No, I need to not. I'm tripping on how to add a window capture here.
And I mean, there is still the possibility that the Spurs and Lakers could both pass the Pelicans and keep them out of the play-in completely. I I mean, that would be the ideal situation, and then have them not move up. But
that game that the Lakers played yesterday really hurts that. So, in case you did not pay attention to the games yesterday, the Lakers had a 23-point lead. They were up 20 at halftime in New Orleans, okay? They lost that game. Their biggest game of the year, they choked a 23-point lead. Right now, the Lakers would be in 10th. The Pelicans would be in 9th. The Pelicans would only be a half game ahead of the Spurs. They'd be one ahead in the win column. So that would be a situation where, the Spurs would have a chance of passing up the Pelicans. If the Pelicans are 8th, I'm worried about them moving to the top 4. They have a 26% chance. If they are in the play-in, I'm worried about them playing their way into the play-in. What odds would you give Portland on getting this New Orleans pick right now, Eric? Because my gut tells me it's like we have a 55% chance of getting it.
Yeah, I was going to say 50-50, but yeah, it's pretty much in there. The hope is that maybe Kawhi comes back too towards the end of the season, and then the Clippers are very formidable, and I trust them or Minnesota to beat the Pelicans. I just don't trust the Spurs or the Lakers.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, I mean, honestly, if they end up in the play-in, maybe they pass up. New Orleans is only a game behind New York, so that pick could fall to 12. I'm cool with that pick being 12. I'm cool with that pick being 9, 10, or 12. Like, I honestly don't really care. Obviously, it'd be nice for it to be 9th, because then you're looking at a possibility of getting Mathurin, whereas if it's 12th, you're probably not. But, if it's... If they end up in the play-in, if they end up, winning some games the rest of the season, end up with the 12th overall pick, and then they lose in the play-in, it'll be less stressful going into lottery day.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be less stressful. So I just... If they end up 8th, it'll be like, yeah, that pick could be better, but it'd be more stressful going into lottery day. And I already know I'm going to be nervous as heck on May 17th.
For sure.
So...
but I mean, that's always been the problem with the stipulation of the trade we made. So
yep. Something interesting here, Eric. The top 3 teams all have equal odds. That's how it always is. But the top 3 teams right now are all tied.
Yeah.
So obviously, if a team falls to 5, 6, 7, it matters what order the 1, 2, and 3, and the number 1, number 2, and number 3 teams are. But I just found that interesting. So let's just do a sim, and let's see if we can have some luck today. Brooklyn right now is in... Wow, I didn't realize Brooklyn was in 9th. Yeah, Brooklyn's tied with Charlotte right now. So Brooklyn's pick goes to Houston. Brooklyn could end up in the lottery. Obviously, they'd have to miss playing their way into the playoffs, but, I mean, they haven't looked too good. Kyrie is able to play full-time, though, so maybe that helps him. You got Atlanta at 13, New York at 12. New Orleans picked to Portland. We get it. It falls to 11. That's fine. San Antonio at 10. You don't want to see Portland at 9, and Portland moves up. Dude, what is our luck lately, Eric?
Yeah.
We had 2 teams below us move up, and then we still move
Well,
down.
look, Sacramento moved down 3, so... We're in the top 4 with 3 teams below us.
You got Washington,
New Orleans' other pick, the
New
Lakers'
Orleans'
pick.
other pick via the Lakers, and you got Washington. Interesting. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Indiana's at 8, OKC 7, Houston 6, and then Orlando at 5. So you also got Detroit up there in the top 4. At 4, you got Washington. At 3. You got the Lakers pick to the Pelicans. At 2, you have Detroit, and at number 1, you got Dude, what is our luck lately?
1 and 11 this time instead of 1 and 9.
Yeah, 1 and 11. Okay, yeah. I said on a previous stream, Houston ended up having the 3rd pick, and then they have Brooklyn's pick, and I would debate trading down 1 for 3 and 14 if this was Houston. Because then you're still guaranteed one of Banchero, Jabari, and Chet, and then you get another solid mid-first. But when it's different teams, if it's OKC also has the 15th pick, so that'd be viable if OKC was 3 to trade 1 down for 3 and 15. The pick they get from the Clippers, but with it being the Pelicans, getting the Lakers pick at 3, the Pelicans don't have another first-round pick. But you could always get a
take
future
that Milwaukee
first.
that.
Just get it anyway. Yeah, that's funny.
And then we can include that pick for Jeremy Grant instead of having to include.
Yeah, so I'd be down to trade 1 down to 3 and a future first, and I would try and flip that future first to Chicago to get our future first back. I don't know. It depends on what pick we got back from whoever had the 3rd pick, but if we could trade 1 down to 3 and get our future first that we owe Chicago back and open up the ability to trade all our future first this offseason, I would absolutely take that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm very even on Paulo, Jabari, and Chet right now.
Yeah, me too.
So, any other thoughts on this, Eric?
Some people were asking some draft-related questions. Would you take both Sharpe and Mathurin if it worked out that way?
Would I take both of them if they were the best players on the board where we were picking? Yeah.
Yeah, I probably would too. It's hard.
At that point, I think you try and see if Nasir Little has trade value.
Yeah, maybe. Still, maybe you trade whatever the 2nd pick is to move down, like we said, and get possibly like a Agbaji and Coloca or something instead of just Mathurin or whatever.
Yeah, like 11. See, at 11, let me go into the mock draft. It's going to reset the picks, but we had 1 and 11. At 11, you have Mathurin off the board, Johnny Davis, and Eason. You do have Duran there.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, if Dyson Daniels is really 6'7", barefoot, that's intriguing to me. I haven't paid attention to his game at all, but he's a 6'7" playmaker. That is supposedly solid defensively, so I don't know if he can shoot. Let me look at his stats. Yeah, 25% from 3. So he'd have to learn how to shoot, but he's Australian. Another Josh Giddey. What's with Australians being like big playmaking point guards? Like Ben Simmons, Josh Giddey. Even LaMelo Ball went to Australia. And he's a big playmaking point guard. And now you got Dyson Daniels.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's kind of the mold. But 11, I would trade down. I mean, the Spurs have 19 and what? Where's their other pick at? I thought they had 2 picks down here. 27. Oh, they have the Celtics pick. The Celtics have been doing so good lately. That pick has fallen. That's what it is. 19 and 27 isn't enough for 11, in my opinion.
No, that's
those picks, I feel like a couple weeks ago were like 15 and 19 or something around there.
I think they were like 17 and 20 was the best. I think it was. Yeah, somewhere there.
Yeah, if we fall to 11, OKC has the 15th pick and the 30th picks. At that point, like 11 for 15 and 30 makes some sense. If it's like 9 or 8, I wouldn't do 8 or 9 for 15 and 30. I'd need a little bit more value if I'm the Blazers there. But at 8 or 9, you get Mathurin or Eason. So would you trade down? Would you take Duran? What would be your favorite play there?
Well,
who would you end up with?
If this scenario where we had the number 1 pick, I would keep it and take... I would just take best player available. But in a scenario where, like, that was presented, where we had already taken Sharpe, say at 7, and then had 10, like in this mock currently. Yeah, I mean, I really would be fine with taking Eason or Duran or Sohan, or just trading down a few picks as well. I could see either strategy paying off.
Is there a guy that the Blazers could draft? Like, you could see Cronin just randomly drafting at 10 that you would not like in terms of a pick?
Well, obviously, like Ty Washington,
yeah,
I guess.
I just don't think they go guard again.
I mean, if they took, like, Beauchamp or Hardy or something, like...
Ooh.
that would probably be a little frustrating. Patrick Baldwin Jr. I don't think that's even a possibility. If they take like a Walker Kessler as like a
Oh, that's so gross.
Like a Myers Leonard. That would give me such Myers Leonard vibes.
Uh-huh.
Um,
The Walker Kessler over Duran. Imagine.
yeah. But yeah, I really think like pretty much everything I'm seeing is that Duran is sliding up, and that it's going to make one of those guys, like either Matherin or Sharp, maybe fall a spot or two. So I think
Yeah.
one of them will be available. But yeah, there's not many guys in the top 10 at least that I'd be mad. Like if we got like 1 and 9 and took a power forward, and then we took like Sohan at 9, I don't think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Not that I don't like Sohan, but like, yeah.
Right now, there's a clear top 10 for me, in my opinion. And it's obviously Chet, Jabari, Banchero, Ivy, AJ Griffin, Shaedon Sharpe, Keegan Murray, Matherin, Johnny Davis, and Jalen Duran.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a tier above everybody else. Because then after that, you get like Tari Eason, Ty Washington, Sohan, Agbaji, Dyson Daniels.
Yeah.
Even Branham is kind of in that tier now. Branham's risen up draft boards, and I know that was a guy that you liked. So yeah, then you kind of get into that next tier of guys. Jovic you could toss in there. So I think there's a clear-cut top 10.
But yeah, if we're 10 and it's like Johnny Davis is the 10th guy left of your top 10, like as much as I like Johnny Davis, not really for Portland, so I would have no problem trading down and taking one of those in the next tier and picking up another asset.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing is, look, if Johnny Davis is there at 10, a team like OKC has a lot of guards, but there could be a team that really wants him, and you're able to get more value out of that pick depending on who's there in the draft. So, obviously, everything's super fluid, and we'll try our best to. God, if we have 2 picks, draft night is going to be so interesting.
Yeah.
We'll do our best to, in real time, keep you up to date with any of the possible storylines, because obviously, if a certain player gets picked somewhere, it affects things further down in the draft. So, we'll be working hard to try and keep you guys up to date in real time as things play out.
Weezy had a question for us earlier. I think I know the answer for you. If we're sitting there with our first pick and Sharpe, Murray, and AJ Griffin are all still on the board, are you taking Sharpe over AJ Griffin? That's a tough question. It might be a realistic question because
I mean, honestly, like, I would trust the organization's call on that, because Shaedon Sharpe's a guy you have to get in for workouts.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Shaedon Sharpe's a guy you have to see in, like, if you're an organization, you got to get him in for workouts and see what he looks like in person, and, do the same with AJ Griffin and then just kind of compare him that way.
Yeah.
Because obviously, like, Sharpe is more risky, but I feel like Sharpe is probably the higher upside play.
Mm-hmm.
So I would probably go with Sharpe. And, like, part of that is just a gut feeling without much substance behind it. Just a gut feeling tells me he's going to be really good at some point. I don't know if it's because we have Anthony Simons on our team and he kind of took a similar route. Like, he didn't play in college. And I've heard some people say Shaedon Sharpe is like a 6'6" Anthony Simons. And I kind of... I don't know. I see some similarities in a way. Like, Ant was a better shooter in high school, I think, but like one of my biggest knocks on Ant was he wasn't like creative enough with his dribble and was kind of like stiff with his dribble, and I see the same thing with Shaedon Sharpe, but I see the potential to be a guy that breaks down defenses off the dribble at a high level with him. He's a decent athlete. Sharpe defensively, I feel like could be really good. That's kind of the thing that has me intrigued by him, is he seems like he could be a good defensively. So I'd probably just roll with Sharpe.
Yeah. So the Griffin versus Sharpe thing, to me, if Sharpe measures 6'6" with that 7-foot wingspan, and he's got a decent standing reach, yeah, I have no problem taking him there. And then, as you've always mentioned, if AJ Griffin has poor measurements in terms of standing reach and stuff like that, I'd probably do the same.
Yep. Measurements matter a lot. So draft combine, it's going to be really interesting to see what guys measure. Some guys won't. Some guys at the top of the draft won't even measure. So AJ Griffin might not measure, which would suck. But like if I have guys in for workouts, and if I'm having AJ Griffin in for a workout, I'm saying, okay, we're going to measure your standing reach. Mm-hmm. We're going to measure your wingspan. We're going to like every guy that I bring in for a workout, we're going to measure him.
Yeah.
Griffin also seemed, I don't know, he had that knee injury in high school, and I don't want to say he's injury prone or anything, because that's just one injury, you know what I mean? But I feel like that does factor in a little bit. The thing is, though, if like AJ Griffin can regain the athleticism he had in high school, I'd take him over Sharpe easily.
Yeah.
So,
and Griffin's already proven at a pretty high level that he can shoot the lights out.
So tough. That's so tough. Yeah. I would take both those guys over Keegan Murray. No surprise there. So, you know, that's the thing. If we can move up to 6 and then we don't fall down, which is unlikely, but like if we move up to 6, we're guaranteed like Griffin or Sharpe.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, if we're 7th, I could see a team taking Keegan Murray at 5 or 6. So if we're 7th, we could still get one of those guys. So moving up to 6. So if a team moves up, we would only fall to 7th. If only one team moved up, it would be huge in my opinion. And then if you fall to 8, I think you just take Mathurin there at 8. So just making sure that our pick is at least top 8, I think is important.
Mm-hmm.
God, I want to see who's on the team next year.
Yeah.
This is the speculation's killing me. But as far as like Griffin being younger than Sharpe, if it's within a year, I don't really pay attention to that. Like, and I think guys get knocked too much for their age anyway. Like, there's been a lot of sleepers in previous years that are second round picks because they're older, and then they end up being steals. So,
so what's the deal with Sharpe then? Because didn't it have to do with when his birthday was, why he wasn't initially eligible for the draft, or was it that he didn't finish high school in time or something?
Oh, you know what? Actually, I want Shaedon Sharpe as the number 1 player in the draft because his birthday is May 30th. And that's my birthday, so I want Shaedon Sharpe on our team.
It'll be 19.
Oh, that's funny. Okay.
Brad wants to know what pick the Blazers would need to have Murray on the available for you to be happy they took him.
Like, what's the highest pick where I'd be okay with them taking Murray? 8. I would take Mathurin over Murray. So, like, obviously the big 3 power forwards, Ivy, Griffin, Sharpe, and Mathurin would be my top 7 right now. After that, I'm okay taking Murray at 8.
Mathurin's rising for you?
I mean, I was never down on Mathurin.
I thought you were a little, not like down on him, but like closer to 10-ish versus 7-ish.
I don't remember who I had above him, though. Like,
yeah.
There wasn't any, like, honestly, I still like Tari Eason, but I'm not as enamored with him as I once was. I just don't know if his shot's going to translate. He just seems like a guy who could struggle shooting the ball in the league. His form, I don't know. So I'm still high on Eason. I don't want him above Mathurin. I think earlier I did, but I've changed my mind on that.
Of who?
Eason compared to Mathurin.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'd rather have Mathurin.
I think Mathurin just has
easily now.
Yeah. Because much like the argument we made about Sharpe, if we're just trying to find like the star or the best player, I think I could see a path for Mathurin over any of those players after those top 6 we talk about all the time.
Yeah. I mean, this is basically with a number of guys. I still have questions about how good of a playmaker / shot creator he'll be in the league. Like, I think he'll be able to. I just don't know as to how high of a level. Obviously, if he's able to do so at a high level, he has star potential because he has athleticism and can knock down shots, can hit floaters. I feel like at the very least, he'll be able to be a guy who plays some solid defense and just runs off screens and is just a knockdown shooter. And a good cutter. So, like, he can fit in playing off the ball and playing within a system, not being the guy very well. So, I like Mathurin for that reason.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously they lost their last game, but the game before that, he pulled down 2, like, incredibly tough offensive rebounds and put the ball back in, keep points in that game. So you like his, like, toughness, so that bodes well if you're trying to, like, translate whether he could play the 3 versus the 2 or not. And,
he needs to measure to be able to play the 3 though. Like,
right.
And I think he will, but I have to wait and see on that. That's why the combine measurements are going to be important. And things are definitely subject to change with me on my opinions as I gain more information. But how many people do you have above? Do you have Murray above any of the 7 that I listed?
I still worry about Sharpe, so I have Murray and Sharpe kind of at the same level. But yeah, it's much like we talk about at the top. It's so fluid. Like, every day I kind of change my mind on that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean, Sharpe was born May 30th, so he's goated. So that's going to be my argument till the end of time.
All right.
Just like Harrison Barnes. Harrison Barnes is also goated. I'm just kidding. You guys know I haven't wanted Harrison Barnes on this team.
Alvy, what do you mean he could have gone number 1 if he reclassified? You mean if he
didn't
reclassify and came out next year? Because isn't Wemby for sure not going to be number 1 most likely?
Yeah, I mean, but
Sharpe could, I guess, but
I don't know. Wemby does remind me of just kind of like a bigger Chet in a way. Like, skinny guy, can shoot, can handle the ball, fluid, agile for his size, shot blocker. But I mean, Chet is a consensus number 1 this year, and I feel like Sharpe, if he played his freshman year in college, I feel like he could have dominated, like, had a chance to. I'm not saying that he would, but he has the talent, and he improved a lot in high school. So if he kind of kept on that trajectory, he could have played himself into potential number 1 next year. But that's the thing is, he would have proven what he has. So you would have been a lot more comfortable, like, taking him, higher in the draft next year after he plays a year of college and shows, like, oh yeah, I can play against future NBA guys or high level college players and dominate. The thing is, we haven't seen that, so he gets knocked for that. But that's also why I'm intrigued by him, because it's.
Or he could have struggled like Amoni Bates and Peyton Watson and hurt his draft stock.
Yeah, see, Amani Bates just has that 6'7" wingspan when he's 6'9". He has negative wingspan, and athletically doesn't set himself apart at all. That's the thing I've realized is you get these skilled big high school players that end up being like top prospects when they come into college because they just dominate on the high school level due to like being athletic enough, being big enough, and then being skilled on top of that. But if you can't, like, a lot of guys like that, I feel like, come into college and struggle because their size no longer is an advantage. Their athleticism at that size is no longer an advantage. So then it falls back on their skills, and a lot of times those guys aren't so supremely skilled that they're still able to make it work. Some of them are, but I feel like that was kind of the case with Amani Bates is, he's not able to get to the rim. He doesn't have a good wingspan. His size isn't much of an advantage anymore, and that he gets relegated into just being pretty much a shooter.
Yeah, I was just using examples of like players that were hyped. And,
yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, definitely possible. It's
it still baffles me that once he was ruled eligible, why he wouldn't play. And that's the only logical thing that comes to mind is that they're trying to hide something.
I don't agree with that. I just,
I mean, I'm just saying, like, that's in my mind. I don't know why else he wouldn't have played.
I mean, if the plan wasn't for him to play and he joined mid-season, I mean, I don't know. And like Calipari's kind of weird
Yeah.
with guys, and I don't know. I mean, I've tried to Google it, and I'll Google it right now.
But
Why isn't he playing?
that's kind of my point, Double E. You said Sharp could have been hurt by playing Kentucky's idiotic offense. Well, that's what I'm saying, though. Like, is that like a conscious decision they made that he could hurt his draft stock if he played? Because I don't like that mindset if that was the case.
It sounds like maybe Shaedon Sharpe didn't want to play this year.
I know, but that's what I'm asking. Why?
Yeah, I don't know.
Wasn't he with the team all year? It's just he became eligible in January.
No, I think he joined them in January.
I thought he just became eligible to play, but he had been practicing all year with them.
No, because I remember it being news that he like reclassified in the middle of the season. So I think he joined them in January. So I mean that's yeah. I mean that's something for the organization to try and figure out. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing is we can sit here and speculate. The organization has to do a good job in terms of figuring these prospects out from a skill set standpoint, and for like a guy like Sharpe. Okay, what was the real reason you didn't play? And trying to dig up the dirt on that, and if guys don't measure at the combine, measure them with their, bring them in for individual workouts and measure them. And you don't have to release the information, but you'll know what these guys' measurements are, and that'll help you make an educated decision. That's what the organization's supposed to do, So we can sit here and guess as to like, oh, he didn't play for this reason, didn't play for that reason, and obviously that'll affect our opinions. It's just, it comes down to the organization has to try and figure out the exact reason why.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, but I don't know. Sure. Calipari's weird to me. Calipari's an overrated coach, but that's another discussion.
Good recruiter.
Good recruiter, not a good coach.
Mm-hmm.
And he proved that losing to St. Peter's. Too bad they couldn't make the Final Four, man. They got whacked. Both those games yesterday were terrible.
All right, so it looks like September he committed to Kentucky for next year.
Mm-hmm.
Then in November reclassified. And then joined the team at the beginning of the first semester. And then right when he joined the team is when they...
The beginning of the first semester?
At the next semester, which was around semester. Christmas time, yeah.
Okay.
So, and then right then is when he ended up being eligible for the draft as well. And so, but yeah, I don't know why they decided to keep sitting him out.
I mean, it could have been a situation where he planned on entering the draft and there wasn't enough games for him to really like raise his stock. But that's what I'm saying. He didn't want to risk getting hurt.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with a guy coming into a team middle of the season. Like he's probably gonna look like he's probably not going to fit into what the team's doing right off the bat. So he's probably not gonna look good. And with a small sample size of games like that could have probably hurt him, even if it wasn't his fault, even if it was him just trying to acclimate to a new situation with a team that had already been playing together for months.
But that's been my point, which you disagreed with it a few minutes ago.
What do you mean?
That's what I said. Like, was it a conscious decision to
protect him? When you say a conscious decision to protect him, I read it as like, oh, they're protecting him because he's not as good as his draft stock. Maybe that's probably, I don't know. That's how I interpret it.
Well, no, I mean, it could be, he could show out in games. It could be the opposite. But
yeah,
if you make that decision to not play because there's not enough time to get acclimated or you're only playing a few games or whatever, to me, you're trying to somewhat protect the mystery of you and not expose yourself at all, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think it's kind of smart for him to do that because being the biggest mystery in the draft and not being able to have film to nitpick on, I think is going to help him rather than hurt him.
Yeah, see, I wouldn't view it as like protecting him from exposing himself. I just think it'd be a tough situation for a guy to come in the middle of the season, and it wouldn't be his fault. It wouldn't be like exposing him as a player or anything. It'd just be a tough situation that could hurt him.
Yeah.
That's not, based on him not being worthwhile of his draft stock.
I think we're saying the same thing. You're just looking at it as a negative, and I'm saying it. I think he just didn't want to risk it.
Yeah,
turning into a negative.
We probably are. Just the whole phrase like expose himself just sounds like a negative. I don't know. But I wouldn't. Yeah. So I don't know. It's just a weird situation with him. I'm just not. And that's the thing where it comes back to the team. Like the team should get him in for workouts and see. You know what I mean? Because it's like. Anthony Simons played a year post-grad, and it could have been like, why didn't he go play in because I think he could have played in college that year, right?
Well, I think with him, he was enrolled at Louisville, or he committed to Louisville, and then that whole Rick Pitino scandal came out, and I think he just decided to sit out the year. Yeah, something like that. But yes.
Maybe it's because our two best players came from not typical situations. Dame comes from Weber State, and Anthony Simons came into the league fresh out of basically high school. Maybe that's why I'm not holding it against him at all. Maybe that's why I'm kind of intrigued by the mystery of him, because like that's the thing with Dame. It was, he didn't play against good enough players. He is going to get exposed once he has to play against real players.
Well, Shep too, right?
God, that's just ridiculous, because people treat Gonzaga like it's Weber State when it's not. But yeah, so I mean that was the narrative with Dame, and then with Anthony, it's like, we drafted this guy fresh out of high school, and it's another guard, and yada yada yada. Like this dude has no experience. It's gonna take a while to get it. I mean, like unknown. He was an unknown. He didn't play in college, and that's panned out pretty well. So I don't know. I have a hard time knocking Sharpe because of Dave and Ant and kind of the path that they took.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. Like a guy like Ant probably knows like what it takes to get acclimated, fresh out of a situation like that. He could maybe help him.
Again, let me make this clear. I think it's smart not. I agree with that. That's part the intrigue with him. To me. If he had a chance, if Kentucky was saying, hey, you're eligible now, you can play, and if he was like, no thanks, I'll just practice and go to the draft or whatever, then part of me doesn't like that competitiveness, like, because I feel like if you were a real competitor, or had that true, like, it factor, that you would choose to play. But this is just all me, like making up a hypothetical. Like I have no idea if that's true or not.
Yeah, since I have no idea, I'm not gonna knock it for him. If the team figures out that was the case and they don't want to draft him for that reason, I understand it. It just obviously goes back to the team just figuring this type of stuff out. It just sounds like Calipari almost didn't really care to have him play at all, and I don't know why, but. I mean, Sharpe also could have people in his ear telling him, like, no, you need to protect your draft status. You should go into the draft this year. You could lose money if you play in a tough situation. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he could have people in his ear trying to advise him not to play. Because when I watch him, defend, and when I watch him play, it seems like he's a competitive player and, improved a lot over high school. So it seems like, okay, he's probably a hard worker. So... it's just the situation I just don't want to hold against him, basically, at this point.
Well, yeah, I'm not holding against him. I would definitely look into that if I'm whatever team is going to draft him.
Yeah,
but,
for sure.
My question, the reason why I wonder if that's true is because was he trying to get draft eligible all year, or what changed there? Because he could have been eligible to play but not draft. So, if he wasn't eligible for this draft, let's say they ruled the other way, all the rules suggested it should have been ruled that way, would he have played this year then, knowing that he would have had to play next year anyway? Or I don't know. It's kind of hard to know, like if the situation was reversed, if he would have played this year.
Yeah. Yeah. It's he intrigues me.
Yeah.
I just always see, that's the thing, is like I'll have like a conversation like this with him, but then it just falls back to like seeing what I've seen. He just intrigues me.
Yeah.
If he was 6'4" with a 6'7" wingspan, then I probably wouldn't really want him, But given the fact that he seems like he could be a really good defensive player and has this potentially has the size to play the three, and then offensively has some things that give me hope for his offensive upside.
Yeah.
That's like the type of player I feel like the Blazers need at the three next to Dame and Ant. So
it's kind of, see, here's the problem is like, you can basically say he's going to be whatever we want him to be, right? And then if he does do that, you'd be like, see, here he is, like called it or whatever. But like, we don't know really if he is that type. And then if he's a bust or whatever, like we could just say, well, we didn't really know that much about him, so it's hard to judge, or you just had a hunch, like you were saying. And,
yeah.
So that's what's tough, is like you can't be like, oh, Keegan Murray had a chance to take over late in the game and he was passive or whatever, and like I've been saying all along, you can't really prove something like a statement right or wrong right now. So that's what's so tough about Sharpe, is like you can basically make him out to be whatever player you want, and that's definitely intriguing, because if he does become that player, obviously it's a steal outside the top few picks. So yeah.
When we drafted Ant, like one of the things that like got me liking the pick was thinking about Ant being mentored by Dame.
Yeah.
And like I felt like Ant was a moldable player, like going out, working out with Phil Beckner, with Dame, and that sort of thing, like Dame taking him under his wing. I just feel like Sharpe in Portland would be a great situation for him.
Mm-hmm.
Just offensively, it's a
with
situation where, yeah, he needs to be a better ball handler. He needs to be more creative with his dribble moves, to be honest. Needs to be a better playmaker, better running the pick and roll, that sort of thing. But it's like he has a quick first step. He's a good athlete. He'll show flashes of being like creative and a good ball handler, and then his jumper has improved, and he's shows flashes of being able to hit shots off the dribble. So I just think that under Dame, under Chauncey, what they do with that, less of him that size, and then like he gets after it defensively and could end up being a really good defender. Like that's just, I feel like Portland would be a great situation for him to just become the best player he could be, because he has more question marks offensively than I think he does defensively. So that's just why I'm enamored by him. And if he truly is 6'6" with a 7-foot wingspan, it could be a situation where I would maybe even take him over a Jaden Ivey, which is risky, but I mean he plays a position of need. Mm-hmm. If he's 6'6" with a 7-foot wingspan, so that's kind of my favorite draft crush right now.
Chris Brandlin has a great point. You want guys who say they want the coach to coach the heck out of them and mean it, like Ant and Nas apparently did, right? So here's the key. Billups seems like he's somewhat capable of figuring that out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So maybe you get guys into workouts and you have Billups there, and maybe he can question them in a way to where he can see if they're just saying that or if they truly are that way. Yep. Maybe if they do that, maybe you be hard on them in a workout or something and see how they respond to it. And so that would be really, really good to have Billups kind of pressing these guys, because I agree, if Sharpe's the kind of guy who's like, because that's been critical in Ant's development. Just apparently Ant just will take any criticism and he doesn't get mad at it. He takes it and really tries to improve on whatever the coach is telling him, and you need those kind of players if we're going to get someone who outperforms their draft position or whatever. So yeah, I would definitely that would be like my number one thing with a mystery guy like Sharpe, is trying to figure out and pressing him a little bit to see if he does have that mindset or not.
Yep. Absolutely agree. Anyway,
One last quick
any
question, David. You asked how much stock do you put in the players tournament play versus like their entire you know, season or seasons of college ball.
I mean, the tournament is just. I try not to overreact to the tournament. A lot of people, I think, overreact to the tournament. Like, there's something to be said about putting a team on your back and leading them to a championship, but it's like Shabazz Napier did that, and he never turned out into a good NBA player. You know what I mean? So, just I just for the most part treat it like individual games, just like I would in the regular season. Obviously, it's good to figure out who can perform under pressure, but outside of that, it doesn't mean much more than just a normal game to me.
Yeah, it's just like a part of the puzzle. So you take all the pieces and you put them together, but you don't have the puzzle completed without all the pieces. So like you like to see as many parts of it as possible. But like I don't know, there weren't too many guys in my mind that hurt their stock that much, especially with college basketball where you can just like load up in the paint and play zone defense. There's no 3 second defensive in the lane or whatever. So you can take a lot of players who are good at getting into the paint and getting to the rim. The game might open up for them at the next level.
See, that's kind of how I feel like with Chet.
Yeah.
Just gonna interject that in there.
Yeah. And then, but someone like Banchero, I wouldn't say like his tournament makes me think more of him or anything. It just has reaffirmed that he is definitely a top 3 pick and should be considered with one of those 3 spots. And
yeah.
I think that's like 100% certain now.
Yeah. Yeah. I have put Banchero back into kind of the tier with Jabari and Chet because of how he's played lately. But it's not just the tournament. Like, he's just been shooting the ball better like the last 9-10 games.
Yeah.
He's been shooting above 40% from threes. So that's the thing. That was one of my concerns with him. He's shooting the 3 well. So
and his playmaking's gotten a lot better.
I mean, yeah, he has. Honestly, I won't rule out having him as the number 1 prospect by draft night. I won't rule that out. That's possible. Just because a guy that, like, he knows how to create angles and attack those angles.
Mm-hmm.
He's shifty. He has a solid enough first step, good enough ball handler, and then that's the thing. He does bully guys at times, but I think he's creative enough and explosive enough to just be able to get by them without needing that physical advantage. And then if a second defender comes over, he's shown time and time again that he's able to make the right pass, make the right play for somebody else. So if that dude can also just shoot threes and play off the ball as well, and then be that type of playmaker at the 4, I mean, that would be intriguing. Like, I could see Banchero as a rookie using him in a bit of a Draymond role and having Dame and Ant try and play off him like Clay and Steph. Obviously not to the extent that Golden State uses Draymond, but it creates some intriguing options. Banchero can bring the ball up the floor and initiate and run pick and rolls, and just creates more diversity for the offense in both transition, just because he's a guy that can push, and then in the half court, you can come up with some creative ways to use that. So it comes down to defense. That's the one question mark for me. That's the one thing keeping him from being the number 1 overall prospect to me, because I believe that both Jabari and Chet are better offenders, and obviously that's what the Blazers need. So that's why it's tough. But I don't know. I could see him becoming a good defender. I just think that there's more question marks on that end for him.
Yeah. So I kind of agree with Jackson. I don't think he really relies on bullying. It's more that he likes to create contact, I think, to draw the defense, and he's learned how to do that to help his passing. But he's got he often does the spin move in the key to get past the defender rather than like back him down.
See, I just see plays where it's like his strength overpowers defenders and he's able to get buckets like that in situations where that wouldn't be the case in the NBA against stronger, bigger defenders. So bullying might not be the right word. It's just with guys like that, if a dude is just Jaden Ivey blazing quick, like, that dude will be able to blow by defenders in the NBA. That dude will be one of the fastest players in the NBA. Like, the way he gets to the rim in college, I think he'll be able to get to the rim the same exact way in the NBA. Just like John Morant, his speed translated from college to the NBA. With Banchero, with guys that are, more physical, and even if they're decent athletes, just guys that just have that sort of advantage and use that advantage. I'm not saying they shouldn't. It's just when they have that sort of advantage in college and use that, it always creates the question of, will that still be enough of an advantage in the NBA for them to get buckets in a similar way or create plays in a similar way? So that's the one thing with Banchero. But as I said, I think he's good enough, has good enough ball skills, good enough, athleticism to be able to get buckets in other ways. So I'm not really worried about that.
Yeah, I'm just confused because I don't really see him using those kind of tactics very often. He usually tries to get around someone.
I mean, but
or he shoots a turnaround over the top.
If you spin and you put your shoulder on another guy's shoulder and you're stronger than him, you're gonna push his shoulder back. You're gonna open him up and you're gonna create an angle to just go and score. If it's somebody in the NBA who's stronger and you're not able to create that same angle off of a spin move or something, it may be harder to get to, if you're spinning right to left, it may be harder to get to your left-handed layup because of that. You know what I mean? So that plays like that don't necessarily look like overpowering somebody or bullying somebody, but you're able to create angles just by being stronger than guys, and part of it is just knowing where to attack.
So you're talking more like finishing through contact versus...
Yeah, not necessarily finishing through contact, just being able to create angles to go to the rim and finish. It's kind of, it would be easier to show on the basketball court. Yeah. It's kind of hard to explain. I've tried to explain it the best I can. Yeah. I don't know if it's to some people it probably makes sense. To some people they probably are like, "What the hell are you talking about?" It's just, yeah, I don't know. I'm not even gonna try to explain it any further than that.
Okay.
I don't know how else to really explain it. But that's the thing. If I'm playing against you and you spin into my shoulder, you're moving my shoulder back and you're able to get next to me and finish. If it's somebody that's weak and they spin into me, I'm not moving. They're not getting their shoulder by me or through my shoulder. So that's kind of the way I'm trying to illustrate it.
Yeah, but I don't know. To me, when he spins, he's going around them, not through them. So I don't really see that as factoring in as much as you're saying, but maybe I'm just misunderstanding it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I see both. He's able to spin around guys, but there's just plays where I think he uses his strength, which he should. And there's going to be situations in the NBA where he can just use his strength and his physicality to get buckets. So it's not a situation where it doesn't translate at all. It's just I don't know. I think he'll be fine. It's just something to watch for me. I'm not using it to knock him too much. It's just something that I'll be looking for once he makes it into the NBA. But he has so much else to his game that it's I don't really care.
Yeah.
He'll be fine. It's just something that I'm looking at.
Well, that's the bottom line for me. His skill set has proven time and time again to translate from whatever level you're at to the NBA. If you can handle the ball, create shots for yourself and for others, those are all easily translatable to NBA. So that's why I wouldn't be afraid to necessarily take him over say Chet, just because it's safer, definitely, for sure. Like I mentioned several times, Chet I think has the most upside if all three realize their full potential. Chet's the best player of the three. He also has the lowest floor, in my opinion, if things don't work out for him. So it's tough because those players are so close.
Damn. Sorry, I just read something on Twitter that's disappointing.
Yeah. Want to share?
Anthony Black is committing to Arkansas over Gonzaga. Gonzaga was in his final 5, and Arkansas could have the number 1 recruiting class in next season.
So I got Jordan Walsh and
Nick Smith and Anthony Black. Yeah.
And they were an Elite 8 team this year. They're going to lose
I mean,
Jalen
Gonzaga
Williams.
should have beat it. Gonzaga played maybe their worst game of their season, and we're still in it, and the refs were terrible. So I feel like Gonzaga wins that game like 8 or 9, 10 times out of 10. We just, choked, honestly. Couldn't make a shot. Based on shot quality alone, I think there's like a metric that looks at shot quality, and it said that Gonzaga would win that game 83% of the time or something like that. And then you get into Chet fouling out and all that. Yeah, it just didn't break right. But now it's like, oh, well, you guys made a couple Elite Eight runs here. 3 5-star prospects. And it's like Gonzaga can't recruit to that level. God. Frustrating. I hate college basketball now. I'm just kidding. But yeah, it's frustrating, dude. It's frustrating being a Gonzaga fan. It's like if the Blazers were consistently like almost winning championships, but then it's like, oh, the Lakers got good enough to be a 6th seed and then upset the Blazers in the first round or something like that after the Blazers lost in the finals like 2 out of the past 4 years, and then all of a sudden everybody goes to Lakers because of it. Or maybe not the Lakers because Arkansas isn't like Duke or Kentucky or whatever, but like say, I don't know, Denver or something. And then they upset the Blazers, and then everybody goes to Denver because of that. Mm-hmm. And Blazers can't sign anyone. That's kind of what it's like. So, and then everybody talks about how the Blazers can never get it done, and they're frauds, and oh yeah, it just sucks. Anyway.
Greg Brown officially ruled out tonight. Thank you, chat. Evan Mobley got hurt, won't return to the game.
Damn, man.
Elijah Hughes is starting at power forward for us.
Atlanta's up 11 at half against the Pacers. Miami's up 7 on Sacramento with 6 minutes left in the second. Boston and Toronto. Boston's up 3 halfway through the second. San Antonio's up 5 halfway through the first on Houston. Golden State, Memphis, like every game's tipped off by now. Every game was at the latest 5 except for ours. So, it'll be interesting to see that. We'll have the post-game show later tonight. We'll go live around 9:30. And we'll talk about hopefully a loss. Damani, I didn't ask. Anyway. Yeah, and that's what people say about Portland, too. So, yeah, I get it, bro. Anyway. We'll be live again tonight. And then we'll have another post-game show on Wednesday. That one will be a little bit later because I'm planning on going to the game. It's CJ's return game, so I'm gonna wear my. Too, so. Are you okay? Cool. So that'll work out for both of us. I'll wear my CJ McCollum jersey there, and yeah. So that post-game stream will be like 30 minutes after the game ends. We'll go live. Honestly, I might leave early because I'm assuming we're gonna get blown out. I just want to see it for CJ's return. But, yeah, we'll let you know. And then Thursday, obviously, another episode of Blazers Uprise Live. So that's what we have on tap for this week. Anything else, Eric?
No, I should have an article tomorrow. Another prospect watch after the Elite Eight games.
These articles are getting easier, huh?
Yeah, we're down to 10. I started with 52. I'm down to 10 players, and half of them are on Duke. So
yeah. So Blue Blood Final Four. I don't even know if I'm gonna watch the Final Four, man.
Aww.
I am still down bad.
I am excited about it because, I'm disappointed Justin Moore went down because he was projected to be a draft pick in this draft, but other than Villanova not really having another one, all these teams have potential draft picks that I'm excited to watch. So.
Yep. Anyway, that's a wrap for this episode of Blazers Uprise Live. Thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you just tuned in recently, we went on a long discussion about Shaedon Sharpe, so if you missed that and want to watch it, go ahead and scrub the thing back. You know the deal. Anyway, we'll be live again later tonight. Hopefully we catch you. If not, hope everything's good. Until next time, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.